My role as we move through this is to make sure that I'm guiding us through a process that we've laid out that I'll talk about in a minute. It's to make sure that we stay on track, because we all know in a group of 28 that's not always the, Richard and I were just talking about this, that's not always the easiest task to achieve, and my role is to help us achieve that, and I'm going to need a lot of your help to do that, as you know. My role is to make sure that we're actually exploring the questions that are on the table, and we don't move too quickly, and that we take the time to really work through some of these questions. My role also is to put on the table questions that I think might be lingering just beneath the surface that maybe someone is thinking about asking but may not quite want to ask. And my job is to gently put those questions on the table. My job also at times is to take differing points of view and join them together so that we can see what they really are and work through them together and see whether or not we can resolve them or figure out some way, as Pat was saying, what the conditions are under which we can move forward together. So I'll play all those roles as we're moving along. Let me tell you a bias I have, though, if you're wondering this. Again, as Pat said, I've done a lot of work on complex decision making. I've done a lot of it. Most of my work is in public because I work with communities trying to solve problems. So it's typically in public. I am not a process junkie. I do not believe on sort of walking up to the wall and putting yellow dots next to something. My bias is particularly with sensitive issues and issues that are both, in a sense, technical in a sense about citing something, but also issues that are highly emotional and sensitive to a community. That the most important thing is for us to construct a good conversation. We're actually talking to one another and working through things, and as Bob said, open to one another so that we can actually figure out where we need to go. So my bias always is to actually have a conversation and to move through this as a conversation and not to use too many process techniques to get through that. Make sense so far? Any thoughts or questions? Okay. On your table, right before you, you've got this chart about it's labeled Sandy Hook Elementary School Building Task Force Decision-Making Process. And what I wanted to do at this point was just take you through how we're going to work this, what we've designed, and what you'll see as I go through this. There are a couple of things I just want to mention about this as I set this up. One is what was really important is that we create a process that builds, that step by step we're building something together, right? And that there are no surprises for anyone. No surprises for you, no surprises for the community. That's really important. Second, that we build a process that's very transparent, that everything is open, that we're moving through things together, and that we're making clear decisions as we're moving forward, okay? Third, what's really important is that there's room to come back to things as we're moving through so that we're not closing down things for final as we're moving from one meeting to the next, but we're always leaving room for us to come back to things, re-examine them as we learn more and think about things more, so that there's a real opportunity to work through things together. And so those three things are really important to this process, okay? So let me just walk you through this so you know what it looks like.